Hello everyone, this is part 4 of day 5, and today this video is going to be talking about the trig functions that we'll be using to solve the sides and angles of a right triangle. So before we get started, we got 3 functions that we must get accustomed to and know of. We have the sine, cosine, and tan. So just break it down to the bare minimum, right? The sine of an angle is equal to its side opposite and its side hypotenuse over its side hypotenuse. Now what this is saying is if I want to find an angle, its sine of it, it is equal to, if I take its side opposite divided by its side hypotenuse, or the ratio of these two sides. We have cosine theta. The theta in this, all these just means it's just angles, or what reference angles I'm using, will be equal to, if I take the side adjacent divided by the side hypotenuse. And the other side we have is side tangent theta, or if I want to find the tangent of my reference angle, it's going to be whatever its side opposite of that angle divided by its side adjacent. Now these are functions, and luckily we have calculators how to figure them out. And on your calculator, this is my simple basic calculator. I'm going to clear that right quick. The functions we'll be using, it's going to be the sine, cosine, and tangent. Now the other function we'll be using as well is the inverse sine, meaning the sine with the -1, inverse cosine, cosine with the sine of -1, and the tangent one. So these are the functions we'll be using for our calculator for this lesson. And the way we set them up is just like this. So let's take out our calculator, and then we got these functions right here. Let's start with the first one. This is saying the sine of 90 degrees. Cosine and tangent, right? So I know for this for sure, this is going to be in your homework. They're saying what is the angle of this trig function? Or what is the value of this angle using this trig function? And so I got sine of 90 degrees, right? So that means what I'm going to do is sine 90 degrees. Now before I work this out, right, I'm going to clear this off right quick. Before I work this out, on your calculators, I don't know what kind of calculator you're using, make sure you are set on degrees and not rad or grad. Make sure your calculator is set in degrees. And so the reason why is we were looking just for degrees. Radians, it's a different kind of measurement, and graduates is a different kind of measurements. But for this class, we just only be using degrees. Most calculators are set by default by degrees. So make sure you're using degrees on your calculator. So I'm going to get started right quick. I'm going to find the value of each of these degrees, right? So I got the sine of 90, cosine of 90, tangent of 90. So all I'm going to do is, what is that? Sine of 90 degrees. Get an answer of 1. Let's do the cosine of 90 degrees. I have an answer of 0. Now I'm going to do the tangent of 90 degrees. And this is domain error. So this is saying if I have an angle that's 90 degrees, or my right angle, if I take the sine of it, and what that function does is, what is this over this? What is this over this? It's kind of hard to explain, But all we just have to find out right now is just figure out the measurement of this angle using this kind of functions. I don't want to board y'all or get y'all more confused. All we're doing is to find out what is the value, what is the sine value of 90 degrees, what is the cosine value of 90 degrees, what is the tan value of 90 degrees. And this is what I got so far. So let's do to the next one right quick. Let's do the sine of 60 degrees. That gives me square root of 3 divided by 2. Now, if I was to, let's see, change that from a fraction to a decimal, that's just saying I got a value of 0.866. If I did the cosine of 60 degrees, that means I get a value of 1/2 or 0.5. Now if I do the tangent of 60 degrees, I'll get square root of 3, or let's just square root of 3, which is going to be a number like 1.7. So this is just values, just numbers, right? I'll show more about this in the next video. So let's just go move on to the next one. We got the sine of 30, the cosine of 30, and the tangent of 30. So this is the sine of 30 degrees, 1/2 or 0.5. The cosine of 30 degrees, 3 over 2, or remember that was 0.8666. Clear, and let's do the tangent of 30 degrees. Again, it's going to be, this one's 3 square roots of 3. 0.7. This is just an approximation divided by 3. 0.56666. So there's just values, these are just numbers right quick. Like I said, I'll talk about this more here in the next video. But on these right here, in your homework, we're going to be asked to find the value of this angle. This is all you have to do. So let's do the sine of 23. This is just a different number. You get 0.39 something. And what that number is, say if I have two sides, like I have one side like this, one side like this, and they form an angle of 23 degrees, its ratio is going to be this, meaning its side opposite divided by its side hypotenuse will be me this. That's what it's saying. Let's do the cosine of 23 and the tangent of 23. And all these numbers, right, they're in decimals. They're just ratios. I'm taking one side dividing by the other side. And that's what it's saying.